What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today what I have for you guys is another update on DLC 5 or Zombies Chronicles 2 within Black Ops 4. But before we jump into that, I want to quickly address that in my recent video where I put together all of the Game Over songs for the entire Ether storyline, I did record the Game Over scene for Origins, but it somehow didn't make the final cut, and I felt bad about that, so I'm going to roll the Origins ending music for you guys right now. Now, thank you guys for the support on that recent video. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll have it linked down below in the description. But in regards to DLC 5, the first thing I wanted to bring up was Craig Houston's words in the recent Treyarch video that featured the voice actors for Richtofen, Dempsey, Takiel, and Nikolai. So in that video, Craig Houston specifically says that Tagertoten is the end of the line for our Primus and Ultimus crew, and we knew that, but he doesn't mention Victus at all in that sentence, so people out there were speculating that that could in fact be a confirmation of a DLC 5, but my honest response to that is that it probably isn't, because that video was pre-recorded before any of us out there knew for a fact that Victus was the playable crew in DLC 4. The video itself was recorded before we knew much about Victus's involvement in Tagertoten. So with that being said, Craig Houston was probably trying to avoid spoilers at all costs, and obviously since the voice actors for the Victus crew weren't in that video or in that room, Craig Houston had no real reason to really bring them up and wanted to keep Primus and Ultimus in the spotlight for the sake of that video, going over the past, reminiscing on the experience with these voice actors and the journey for the past 11 years. So that was really the meaning behind the video itself. So he wanted to avoid spoilers and ensure that people out there were really focusing on our Primus and Ultimus crew while watching that. But it's a shame that we just didn't know Alpha Omega was going to be the last map with our Primus and Ultimus crew. So people out there probably would have appreciated the map a little bit more if they knew that. But it's still great that for the very last map featuring Primus and Ultimus, we got a mix and match of both, which made for a really cool dynamic in the Nuketown remake. But in terms of the juicy part of this video, one of my reliable sources reached out to me in regards to an update on a Zombies Chronicles 2, and here's what he had to say. They finished DLC 5 a while ago, and they moved on to the next game pretty much. They just have it sitting there for whenever they decide to announce it. They have trailers and everything already, but they put it on hold because Upper Activision is debating if it will actually sell as well as they think. Financial wise, at this point in time, they expect it to only make around 20 to 25% of the sales that they made with Zombies Chronicles 1. As far as Grief, I heard it was canceled. If they do decide to add it in the game, it will probably be with DLC 5 if they still drop it. He then clarified his statement by saying DLC 5 has been done for a long time. They made trailers and such ages ago. They had this year of DLC all planned out by release a year ago. DLC 5 was or very near finished before DLC 3 even dropped. And last but not least, he also wanted to reiterate that he didn't say DLC 5 was cut, he said it was on hold. They have everything prepared for when they decide they're ready. Originally, I heard a possible December release. Now who knows what they're gonna do. They'll probably wait for the Modern Warfare hype to die down a bit before anything. So this is pretty big information, and again, this reliable source that I talked to doesn't know much about the game development side of things, and it's more about the Activision and publishing side of things. So a bit of a different perspective here for Black Ops 4, but I've talked about him a little bit in the past when he brought some reliable leaks my way about Call of the Dead being DLC 4. So in regards to DLC 5 now, this does remind me of the same situation with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, where according to leakers, the content is 100% finished and ready for release, but is put on hold until Activision can decide when a good release date is. So I guess they're projecting Zombies Chronicles 2 to only make about 25% of the money that the first Zombies Chronicles made, which isn't very good, but I would say holding it off any longer is going to hurt them more than help them, because I feel like the longer you wait to put this out, if you put it out at around, let's say May, like the first Zombies Chronicles, I'm sure the player base for Black Ops 4 Zombies will be even worse. But if you put it out, let's say in December, people are still playing Black Ops 4 about 2 months after the release of Modern Warfare. You'll still have some activity on Black Ops 4 Zombies, and it would be a good Q4 sales boost for Activision if it does sell well, and I think it will, because Buried is a fan favorite for most of the zombies community. So that map alone will sell DLC 5, and I think people out there are also optimistic about a heavy remake to both Transit and Die Rise, which fix all the problems that people really had with the originals in Black Ops 2 Zombies. Now, I do stand by my statement that waiting any longer to put out a DLC 5 could hurt them more than help them, because with the case of Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, that game was rumored, I think, in 2017, and we all expected a release at some point early 2018, but we still haven't seen a release of it yet. And now looking at it, what is actually the point of remastering Modern Warfare 2, in a couple months if the campaign doesn't do anything for you? Sure, it's nostalgic, but still a bit controversial, but it doesn't do anything for you in terms of bringing you up to speed with the Modern Warfare story. The new Modern Warfare that's coming out in just a week is rebooting the franchise in a new universe, going in a completely different direction. So, what would playing Modern Warfare 2 really do for you in 2019? And then when it comes to the multiplayer, sure, it's amazing. It's a 10 out of 10 experience, but, it would break the player base and, again, hurt it more than help it. So there's almost no point in doing that now. But if you would have released Modern Warfare 2 Remastered in the summer of, let's say, 2018, before Black Ops 4 came out, that would have been a pretty good time to get people out there excited about the Modern Warfare series again. But doing it now just doesn't make much sense. Now, when it comes to a December release date for DLC 5, I also find it to be very beneficial in the case that a grief mode is featured with Zombies Chronicles 2, because by December you'll still have some people playing the game, right? It's not going to be like Black Ops 3 where you have a very active community all the way until May when a DLC 5 came out for that game. With Black Ops 4, you probably won't see much activity past January 2020. So I think if grief mode is featured, you would want a pretty populated playlist for a game mode like that, a 4v4 experience, and if it's for multiple maps, you would definitely want people playing the game to make that worthwhile. So by December, that's a very ideal time to possibly put that out. And that's not even talking about a turn mode. If a turn mode is also featured with DLC 5, you also want an active community. So again, the sooner the better. You'll actually see some active people playing those game modes if it comes out by Christmas. And again, it's a Q4 sales boost for Activision, and I'm almost positive it'll sell at least close to the first Zombies Chronicles, just because Buried is in there and is of course a fan favorite. So it would be a great Q4 sales boost before going into a big year like 2020. So it might even be before the first major content drop for Modern Warfare, right? They'll probably have some free content before that, of course, but in terms of some major content drops like special ops missions, possible campaign DLC, that'll probably be coming out in about January 2020, which allows for a DLC 5 in Black Ops 4 to fit in perfectly in December, just before some major content potentially comes to Modern Warfare. But the next thing I wanted to bring up is the voice actress of Misty. I believe her name is Stephanie Lemlin. She recently liked a couple of comments on her Instagram asking about a DLC 5 and whether or not we'll see the Victus characters again. She's expressed her love for the character, and she's really enjoyed her time doing the voice for her. So she also doesn't want Tagler Toten to be the last time she does some work for the character of Misty. And I think the thing is, she actually tries her very best to not let things slip and let things get spoiled. And I know that's happened in the past with other voice actors. For example, in the first Zombies Chronicles for Black Ops 3, the voice actor who I believe dubbed some lines for Richtofen or Nikolai, I can't remember which one, they actually accidentally spoiled on their Instagram that they were doing work again for Black Ops 3 Zombies, and mentioned a couple of things like space monkeys, temples, space, which obviously leaked the fact that Ascension, Shangri-La, and Moon respectively were coming to Black Ops 3 Zombies. So they slipped up a few times, and it actually happened again recently with the voice actor who dubs lines for Nikolai. I believe it's a Portuguese voice actor, I could be wrong, or Brazilian, something like that. He accidentally leaked over in a interview with another YouTuber that he would be guiding another crew at some point in Black Ops 4 Zombies. So when I first heard that interview, I'm like, wait a second, is he possibly referring to a DLC 5 where Nikolai could be guiding the Victus crew on another adventure? But he was actually referencing the fact that Nikolai would be guiding the Victus crew and Tagler Toten via the speakers around the map, as we hear during the Easter egg. So that's really cool that, he talked about it, but it's a shame that he did get in trouble by Activision for saying something he really shouldn't have. So voice actors have to be careful, and I think they have been a little more careful as of lately. So Stephanie Lemlin definitely won't be leaking anything over on her Instagram, but could tease a couple of things here and there without giving it away. So just maybe the Victus voice actors could have already recorded lines for Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, and as my source said, the maps are 100% finished, so they probably already did. So that's probably why she's teasing a little bit over on her Instagram. Now, it's also great to see Craig Houston in the picture with with her, but it's a shame that Blundell just didn't really feel like he had much involvement in Black Ops 4 Zombies this year. I think that's what one of the issues was with the replayability of this game. You didn't have a figure like Blundell, as he was in Black Ops 3, coming out and doing interviews with YouTubers, making statements, releasing some cryptic stuff on Twitter. We just didn't have that kind of life and soul with Black Ops 4 Zombies, and we last saw him over at Treyarch on National 115 Day, and he made a bit of a cameo appearance in the recent Treyarch live stream where they had some devs sit down and talk about, the Ether storyline, how it's ending, and it was great to see Blundell in there. But I think for an ending to such a massive storyline like Ether, it deserved the most budget possible, the most teasing possible, the most cryptic tweets possible from Blundell and Treyarch, video responses like they did, on National 115 Day. It deserves so much more. And as I've also mentioned many times in the past, when it comes to the ending of the Ether itself, I'm happy with the ending even though it was animated. I just think it was the Easter egg and build up and Tagger Toten that wasn't as strong as it should have been, but honestly a Dark Ether follow-up with DLC 5 would make up for that. We would get closer to our Victus crew and 3 heavy remakes of Transit, Die Rise, and Buried that would essentially fix everything that was wrong with those maps in Black Ops 2. And as I've also mentioned quite a few times in the past and in recent live streams, I just don't see it making sense to put in these 3 Victus maps in Black Ops 2020, which is supposed to be a game that's rebooting the Black Ops franchise the same way that Modern Warfare is currently rebooting their franchise. Even if the next Black Ops game features a zombie story that takes place in the Ether multiverse, it still makes the most sense to put in a DLC 5 for Black Ops 4 than to start fresh on a new note, on a new engine, with Black Ops 2020 going in a new direction with a new version of zombies. That's what makes the most sense to me. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Check out links down below in the description. Let me know what you think about DLC 5 being put on hold and having a potential release date for December. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.